Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Nishit Kumar with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India is fully ready to protect its sovereignty and integrity, calls on international community to unite against growing threat of terrorism. Prime Minister emphasizes on minimum government and maximum governance for empowerment of the common man. In Bihar, campaigning for second phase of assembly elections reaches a feverish pitch. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 91.34%. And in IPL cricket, Mumbai Indians beat Delhi Capitals by 9 wickets at Dubai. Royal Challengers Bangalore playing against Sunrisers Hyderabad at Sharjah. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi affirmed that today's India is fully ready to protect its sovereignty and integrity. The Prime Minister said India's perspective and attitudes towards borders have also changed. The Prime Minister was addressing the Rashtriya Ekta Divas parade on the occasion of the 145th birth anniversary of Iron Man of India Sardar Patel at the Statue of Unity at Kevadia in Gujarat today. Criticizing the neighbouring countries, Mr. Modi said those eyeing the land of India are getting a befitting reply.
आज भारत की भूमि पर नजर गड़ाने वालों को मुंह तोड़ जवाब देने की ताकत हमारे वीर जवानों के हाथ में है। आज का भारत सीमाओं पर सैकड़ों किलोमीटर लंबी सड़कें बना रहा है, दर्जनों ब्रिज, अनेक सुरंगें लगातार बनाता चला जा रहा है। अपनी संप्रभुता और सम्मान की रक्षा के लिए आज का भारत पूरी तरह सज्ज है, प्रतिबद्ध है, कटिबद्ध है, पूरी तरह तैयार है.
The Prime Minister hit out at opposition parties for their alleged stand on the Pulwama attack last year. He said when over 40 paramilitary personnel lost their lives in the attack, these parties did not feel sad.
पुलवामा हमले, उस हमले में हमारे पुलिस बेड़े के हमारे जो वीर साथी शहीद हुए, देश कभी भूल नहीं सकता कि जब अपने वीर बेटों के जाने से पूरा देश दुखी था, तब कुछ लोग उस दुख में शामिल नहीं थे. वो पुलवामा हमले में भी अपना राजनीतिक स्वार्थ खोज रहे थे, अपना राजनीतिक स्वार्थ देख रहे थे. देश भूल नहीं सकता कि तब कैसी कैसी बातें कही गई, कैसे कैसे बयान दिए गए. देश भूल नहीं सकता कि जब देश पर इतना बड़ा घाव लगा, तब स्वार्थ और अहंकार से भरी भद्दी राजनीति कितने चरम पर थी.
Mr. Modi also called on the international community to unite against the increasing threat of terrorism. The Prime Minister said that unity of the world community is necessary for the peace and prosperity of the world. He said India lost thousands of innocent lives in the fight against terrorism. He appealed to people to unite for the peace and prosperity of the country and achieve the goal of Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat. The Prime Minister said that Jammu and Kashmir has marched towards development after removal of all barriers, while the northeast region is also on the path of development after the peace accord. The police forces of Gujarat and Central Armed Police Force, Border Security Force, Indo-Tibetan Border Police, Central Industrial Security Force and National Security Guards took part in the Rashtriya Ekta Divas parade. The Prime Minister also administered the Ekta Pledge. Earlier, the Prime Minister paid floral tributes at the Statue of Unity at Kevadia. President Ramnath Kovind and Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu paid floral tributes to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel at his statue at Patel Chowk in New Delhi this morning. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Home Minister Amit Shah also paid homage to Sardar Patel.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said the role of all bureaucrats in the present mode of working in the country is to ensure the minimum government and maximum governance. He exhorted the civil servants to ensure that the interference in the lives of citizens is reduced and the common man is empowered. The Prime Minister was interacting with the young officers through video conferencing from the Statue of Unity under Aramb 2020.
नीतियां जिस जनता के लिए हैं, उनका समावेश बहुत जरूरी है। जनता केवल सरकार की नीतियों की, प्रोग्राम्स की रिसीवर नहीं है। जनता जनार्दन ही असली ड्राइविंग फोर्स है। इसलिए हमें गवर्नमेंट से गवर्नेंस की तरफ बढ़ने की जरूरत है। आप सभी जिस बड़े और लंबे सफर पर निकल रहे हैं, उसमें रूल्स का बहुत योगदान है, लेकिन इसके साथ ही आपको रोल पर भी बहुत ज्यादा फोकस करना है। रूल एंड रोल, लगातार संघर्ष चलेगा, लगातार तनाव आएगा। रूल्स का अपना महत्व है, रोल की अपनी महत्वपूर्ण जिम्मेवारी है।
Mr. Modi called upon the civil service professionals to connect themselves with the people and become responsive. He said that, in a way, Sardar Patel was the father of the civil services.
एक प्रकार से सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल ही देश की सिविल सेवा के जनक थे। 21 अप्रैल 1947 एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विस ऑफिसर के पहले बैच को संबोधित करते हुए सरदार पटेल ने सिविल सर्वेंट्स को देश का स्टील फ्रेम कहा था। उन अफसरों को सरदार साहब की सलाह थी कि देश के नागरिकों की सेवा अब आपका सर्वोच्च कर्तव्य है। मेरा भी यही आग्रह है कि सिविल सर्वेंट जो भी निर्णय ले, वो राष्ट्रीय संदर्भ में हो, देश की एकता अखंडता को मजबूत करने वाले हो, संविधान के स्पिरिट को बनाए रखने वाले हो।
The Prime Minister also appealed to the civil service professionals to practice the mantra of vocal for local in the country's efforts to become Atmanirbhar. The civil service professionals under training at the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration in Mussoorie joined the Prime Minister through video conferencing. The Prime Minister also launched the country's first seaplane service connecting the Statue of Unity in Kevadia with Sabarmati riverfront in Ahmedabad. Mr. Modi had earlier inaugurated the water aerodrome near the Statue of Unity and took the first ride of the seaplane.
The nation is celebrating the 145th birth anniversary of India's Iron Man Sardar Patel today. The day is also earmarked as Rashtriya Ekta Divas across the country. On this occasion, All India Radio News brings to you from its archives select excerpts from the speeches of the Iron Man of India. Speaking about the merger of princely states, Sardar Patel had said that the cooperation shown by the princely states had resulted in the unification of India, which was unprecedented.
जो राजा महाराजा थे, उसमें से बहुतों ने काफी स्वदेशाभिमान बताया और भारत की सरकार को साथ दिया। उसके लिए मैं आज इन लोगों को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं और मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि उनकी मदद से आज मुल्क में जो एकता हुई है, वो सैकड़ों साल पहले कभी नहीं थी।
The News Services Division of All India Radio will broadcast a special program on the life and times of Sardar Patel titled Rashtriya Ekta Ke Shilpi in Spotlight tonight. This program can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:15 p.m. onwards. It will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official.
सबसे ऊंचा था वो है और रहेगा, भारत की शान था वो सदा अमर रहेगा। सबसे सबसे शानदार जो हो पूरज है हमारा सरदार। फौलादी जिगरा मजबूत था वो, इस धरती माँ का सपूत था वो, किसानों का अपना सरदार था वो, हुकूमत पर तेज असरदार था वो, देश को जोड़ा शिल्पकार था वो। सोमनाथ का जीर्णोद्वार था वो, ऋण आज उसका चुका रहे हैं हम, उसे अंबर से ऊंचा, अंबर से ऊंचा, अंबर से ऊंचा, उठा रहे हैं हम। सबसे ऊंचा है सबसे शानदार, लोह पुरुष है हमारा सरदार। सबसे ऊंचा है सबसे शानदार, लोह पुरुष है हमारा सरदार। सबसे ऊंचा है सबसे शानदार, लोह पुरुष है हमारा सरदार। तुम दाना ना 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 ना, तुम दाना ना 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 ना, नागिर दिन दाना ना 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 ना। भव्य सरदार का ये दर्शन हर सदी में हमें पाना है, देशभक्ति और साहस का बल हर पीढ़ी को समझाना है। मां नर्मदा के तट से, मां अभी और इसी पल से, एकता का संदेशा हम सबको हर दिल तक पहुंचाना है। टुकड़ों में अपना बटेंगे, एक साथ हम सब रहेंगे। एक भारत शेष भारत बना के एक सुर में करेंगे। भारत माता की जय। सबसे ऊंचा, सबसे शानदार, लोह पुरुष है हमारा
Welcome back. As a mark of respect to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who was India's first Information and Broadcasting Minister, All India Radio hosts the annual Sardar Patel Memorial Lecture. This year, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will deliver the lecture at 9:30 this evening. It will be broadcast on the entire network of All India Radio. Minority Affairs Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi will preside over this year's oration. Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan will also be present.
In Bihar, with just 1 day left for electioneering for the second phase of assembly elections, campaigning has reached a feverish pitch. Campaigning for 94 assembly seats spread over 17 districts will conclude tomorrow evening. In this phase, polling will be held in the constituencies mostly spread over districts of North Bihar on the 3rd of November. The political fate of 1,463 candidates, including 146 women candidates, will be decided in this phase. One transgender candidate is also in the fray. In the last leg of campaigning, star campaigners and senior leaders are making last-ditch efforts to woo the voters. More from our correspondent.
The BJP President J.P. Nadda addressed a rally in Sonpur in Saran district where he hit hard on Congress and RJD. Mr. Nadda alleged that the statements of Congress leader Rahul Gandhi support the anti-national sentiment because he had sought evidence about Pulwama terror attack. JDU President and Chief Minister Nitish Kumar held public meetings in Simri, Bakhtiyarpur, Nathnagar and Beldor. Senior BJP leaders Ravi Shankar Prasad, Bhupendra Yadav and Sushil Kumar Modi also addressed rallies. RJD leader Tejasvi Prasad Yadav addressed rallies in Lauria, Baikuntpur, Sugauli and Narkatia. Mr. Yadav took exception of Nitish Kumar, saying that he did not take care about miseries of migrant people and flood victims. Addressing a rally in Babu Barhi in Madhubani district, Rashtriya Lok Samta Party chief Upendra Kushwaha said that if voted to power, he will ensure representation of all sections of society in government. Dharmendra Kumar Rai, AIR News, Patna.
In Karnataka, campaigning for the by-election to Sira and RR Nagar assembly segments will conclude tomorrow evening. The polling will be held on the 3rd of November. The Election Commission has deputed 3,847 polling personnel in Sira and 9,515 personnel in RR Nagar constituency, comprising enforcement staff, observers, police and others. Our correspondent reports that due to the pandemic, special arrangements have been made for the voters.
Due to the pandemic, senior citizens above 80 years age, persons with disability and those affected and suspected of COVID-19 have been provided the option to vote by postal ballot. Teams have been formed to visit the houses of such people to deliver the ballot and to collect them. The contesting candidates are informed about such voters. The Chief Electoral Office has said that secrecy of voting will be ensured during this process. During the visits to the homes of such voters, police security will be provided and the entire process will be videographed. In RR Nagar, 489 senior citizens, 23 persons with disability have opted for postal ballot. In Sira, 2,790 senior citizens, 2,093 people with disabilities and 136 COVID patients have opted for this facility. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India is fully ready to protect its sovereignty and integrity, calls on international community to unite against growing threat of terrorism. Prime Minister emphasizes on minimum government and maximum governance for empowerment of the common man. In Bihar, campaigning for the second phase of assembly elections reaches a feverish pitch. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 91.34%. And in IPL cricket, Mumbai Indians beat Delhi Capitals by 9 wickets at Dubai. Royal Challengers Bangalore playing against Sunrisers Hyderabad at Sharjah. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
The government today said the country's COVID-19 recovery rate has reached 91.34%. More than 59,000 COVID patients have recovered during the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has gone up to over 74,32,000. The actual caseload currently comprises only 7.16% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 5,82,000. During the past 24 hours, 48,268 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country to over 81,37,000. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.49%, which is one of the lowest globally. During the last 24 hours, 551 deaths were reported, taking the toll to 1,21,641. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, more than 11,64,000 tests were conducted during the last 24 hours. The total number of samples tested so far has reached 10,77 lakh. Kerala continues to report a surge in COVID cases as 7,983 new cases were confirmed today. 7,330 people recovered from the infection today. Meanwhile, 27 deaths were confirmed, taking the related death toll to 1,484. The total active COVID cases in Kerala rose to 91,190. The Tamil Nadu government has further relaxed the lockdown conditions in the state from next month. Chief Minister Edapadi Palanisamy said in a statement this evening that educational institutions from 9th standard onwards will reopen on the 16th of November. More from our correspondent.
The major decisions announced by the state government while extending the lockdown till November end include the reopening of schools, colleges and cinema halls. The educational institutions from the 9th standard onwards, including colleges and training institutes, will reopen on the 16th November. Cinema halls are permitted to operate with 50% of seating capacities from the 10th onwards, including those in multiplexes and shopping malls. Entertainment and amusement parks, large halls, zoos and museums will also reopen on the same day. All socio-political and religious events, including marriages, are permitted to have a gathering of up to 100 people at a time from the 16th. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
Nagaland's COVID-19 tally has crossed 9,000 mark as 102 fresh positive cases were reported today. Health and Family Welfare Minister S. Pangnew Form in a tweet informed that 146 patients have recovered. The recovery rate in the state has improved to 81.51% with a total of 7,375 recovered persons. The state has now a total of 9,047 confirmed cases, out of which 1,552 are active. So far, out of the 41 deaths, 33 are COVID-19 related, while 6 are not and 2 are under investigation. In a significant step towards affordable medical education, the National Medical Commission (NMC) has notified the minimum requirements for annual MBBS admission regulations 2020. The notification, which was issued today, replaces the minimum standard requirements for medical colleges 1999 of the erstwhile Medical Council of India. According to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the new regulation will be applicable to all the new medical colleges proposed to be established and to the established medical colleges proposing to increase their annual MBBS intake from the academic year 2021-22. During the transitory period, the established medical colleges will be governed by the relevant regulations existing prior to the current notification.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today emphasized the need to refine and streamline the implementation and delivery system for effective response to the needs of common people. Presiding over the 66th annual meeting of General Body of Indian Institute of Public Administration (IIPA) through video conferencing, the Vice President called for a change in the delivery of services, delivery of justice, and the way governance structures respond to the needs of common people. He said this is the change India is looking for today. Mr. Naidu observed that the government has been making policies and designing programs to improve the quality of life of people and fast-track India's development. He said, however, the effective implementation of these policies and programs by administrators and professionals is critical. The Vice President said good governance must percolate down to the lowest level and should become a way of life for the institutions established for the country's governance. Maharashtra Agriculture Minister Dadaji Bhuse has stressed on the importance of the efficiency of farm labourers in increasing the productivity of the agriculture sector and appealed to them to establish their own identity in this sector with the help of skill development programs of the government. He was speaking in the concluding session of skill development workshop for farm labourers in Nashik. He also launched Seed Production Village Scheme in Nashik. More from our correspondent.
Agricultural production depends on various factors, but with the use of new farming techniques and instruments, the skill development of the agriculture laborers has gained more importance. Maharashtra government is focusing on it and conducting the training workshops in different districts of the state. While concluding the workshop of farm laborers in Nashik district, Agriculture Minister Dadaji Bhuse said that nowadays there are many works like spraying pesticides, plucking and collecting fruits in horticulture garden, cotton picking, which are performed by the farm laborers, and if proper training is imparted to them, then the quality of their work and time taken will be improved. He also appealed to farm laborers to establish their own identity and form groups of skilled laborers. He said that the farmers in the state should focus on group farming and ask the officials of Agriculture Department to conduct workshops for women farmers in future. Shailesh Patel, AIR News, Mumbai.
In order to boost tourism amid the COVID-19 pandemic, Uttar Pradesh government will reopen its national parks and safaris from tomorrow, 15 days ahead of the regular schedule. Forest Minister of State Sardar will inaugurate the new tourist season virtually tomorrow. Earlier, the national parks and safaris of state used to open on 15th November every year, and the tourist season used to conclude on June 15th. However, the coronavirus pandemic and the lockdown imposed thereafter led to the closure of the national parks in March. This time, special arrangements have been made in the wake of the pandemic. Only those tourists clearing thermal scanning and having no symptoms of COVID-19 infection would be allowed to enter the park premises. Each and every person entering the national parks or reserve, whether they are tourists, guides or visitors, would have to put on masks all the time. The gates of Dudhwa National Park, Pilibhit Tiger Reserve and Katarnia Ghat in Tarrai region will also reopen for tourists tomorrow. Talking to AIR News, Deputy Director of Pilibhit Tiger Reserve, Naveen Khandelwal said that all preparations have been made to welcome the tourists.
कार्यक्रम का उद्घाटन वन मंत्री सदार सिंह चौहान जी द्वारा जिप्सियों को वर्चुअल माध्यम से फ्लैग ऑफ करके किया जाएगा। इसके अतिरिक्त उस दिन पर्यटकों के लिए NIC और 15 चिन्हित पॉइंट जो हमने पीलीभीत टाइगर में चिन्हित किए हैं उनको पर्यटकों को सौंपा जाएगा। इसके अलावा पर्यटक चूका बीच, बाइफर्केशन आदि का आनंद ले सकते हैं।
The Federation of Indian Publishers, FIP, has organized a virtual version of Delhi Book Fair this year in light of the corona pandemic. The book fair, which was organized in partnership with Pragati and was initially scheduled as a two-day online event, has further been extended due to the overwhelming response for one more day and will now culminate tomorrow midnight. The organizers said arranging the book fair online was a challenging task, but the virtual module of the book fair has opened up new and future avenues of marketing books. Publication Division of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has also put up 3 virtual stalls in this edition of the book fair. Nearly 120 publications covering 12 wide categories including Gandhian literature, art and culture, children literature and speeches of prime ministers and presidents among others have been put up for sale and display by the Publications Division. The virtual fair can be visited through the website of Pragati after registering with email ID and other details.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today paid tributes to former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi on her 36th death anniversary. In Puducherry, floral tributes were paid to former Prime Minister on her death anniversary today. All religion prayers and patriotic songs were sung and 2-minute silence was also observed.
Now, let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital, Delhi, will experience fog or mist in the morning and mainly clear sky later. The temperature will hover between 13 and 31 degrees Celsius. In Mumbai, sky will be mainly clear. The lower level of temperature in the metropolis will be 24 degrees Celsius and the upper level will be 33 degrees. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky. The temperature will oscillate between 24 and 34 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is expected to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. The minimum temperature in the metropolis will be 24 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be 31 degrees. Jammu and Srinagar cities will have mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature will be 14 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be 30 degrees. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature will be 3 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be 18 degrees with mainly clear sky. Leh will have partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. Minimum temperature will be 2 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be nearly 11 degrees. Gilgit will witness mainly clear sky with temperature moving from 1 to 21 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, lower limit of temperature will be 7 degrees Celsius while the upper limit will be around 27 degrees. The sky will be mainly clear. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 13 and 31 degrees Celsius with mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Chandigarh will witness partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be 15 degrees Celsius and the maximum 31 degrees. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature will be 29 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 32 degrees. The city will have partly cloudy sky with haze. Ahmedabad is expected to have clear sky. The city will have minimum temperature of 18 degrees Celsius while maximum will be 34 degrees. Patna may see mainly clear sky. Temperature will hover between 19 to 32 degrees Celsius. And in Guwahati, will have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature is likely to vary between 24 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees.
Sean Connery passed away at the age of 90 today. The Scottish actor was best known for his portrayal of James Bond, being the first to bring the role to the big screen and appearing in 7 of the spy thrillers. His acting career spanned 5 decades and he won an Oscar in 1988 for his role in The Untouchables. Sean's other films included The Hunt for Red October, Highlander, Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade and The Rock. In IPL cricket, Mumbai Indians defeated Delhi Capitals by 9 wickets at Dubai. Chasing 111 runs, Mumbai overhauled the target in 14.2 overs for the loss of just 1 wicket. Earlier put into bat, Delhi posted 110 runs for 9 in the stipulated 20 overs. In another fixture, Royal Challengers Bangalore were 113 for 5 in 18.1 overs against Sunrisers Hyderabad at Sharjah when reports last came in. Earlier, Hyderabad won the toss and elected to field. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India is fully ready to protect its sovereignty and integrity, calls on international community to unite against growing threat of terrorism. Prime Minister emphasizes on minimum government and maximum governance for empowerment of the common man. In Bihar, campaigning for second phase of assembly elections reaches a feverish pitch. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 91.34%. And in IPL cricket, Mumbai Indians beat Delhi Capitals by 9 wickets at Dubai. Royal Challengers Bangalore playing against Sunrisers Hyderabad at Sharjah. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. With that, we end the evening news. Good night.